Graveyard Shift, Monologue by Anthony Luckett. This is a monologue inspired by the book Graveyard Shift by Chris Westwood. It is to be performed from the viewpoint of Ben Harvester, who is the central character of the book. Hello, my name is Ben Harvester. I live in London, England. I go to Mercy Road School. I like to draw, and I work for the Ministry of Pandemonium, helping to lead the soon-departed and lost souls into the afterlife. Never heard of the Ministry of Pandemonium? That's because you're not dead yet. I never had either until I met Mr. October. Mr. October. Now there's an interesting man. You can even call him a man. The first time I met Mr. October, I was sketching gravestones in Highgate Cemetery. I like cemeteries, always have. There's something about seeing what nature can do when people don't interfere. Everything grows wild and tangled with thorns and mosses and things half buried. Plus, there's all the history there. You can read inscriptions and piece together the stories of folks who lived and grown old, or who've gone too soon. And while they've lived, they may have changed the world in some way. They may have invented something, or written a great book, or painted a famous portrait, or posed for one. Or maybe all they'd done was be a good mother or father to the people buried alongside them. But on this day, amongst all those tombstones, I couldn't help but notice him gesturing off into the distance. He looked old and injured, so I rushed over to help him, but I soon discovered he was anything but. Mr. October has the ability to look like anyone he's ever crossed paths with, and I mean anyone. He's tricked me a few times with that, but I'm getting better at knowing when it's him. And that's only one of his many talents. Anyway, Mr. October saw in me something I didn't even know I had. The ability to see spirits. It's a bit shocking at first, seeing a ghost, but you get used to it. And it's nice being able to help people in their time of need. The Ministry of Pandemonium, who Mr. October and I work for, is essentially the business of cleaning. Life is short and messy, and we're there to tidy up when it's over. We seek out the lost and the soon departed and show them where to go. We comfort the living. We work with the dead. Yeah, the ghosts are fine, but the demons, now that's another story. The Lords of Sundown are everything Pandemonium is not. We help, they hinder. They trick souls into becoming stranded so that they can devour the confusion and tribulation and grief. It adds to their power and enables them to bring yet more disorder and chaos to the world. And they share many of the same powers as the ministry, including the ability to change appearances. Some of them even once worked for the ministry 11 or 12 centuries ago, until they secretly decided to start purposefully misfiling records of the newly deceased and stealing the names of the dead for their own nefarious reasons. By the time their plot was uncovered, they'd already formed a splinter group and the damage was done. The Ministry of Pandemonium and the Lords of Sundown have been battling ever since. Aside from my work with the Ministry of Pandemonium, my life is pretty normal. I live with my mom in a mansionette on Middleton Road where we have the top two floors. That would be a two-story apartment for those of you in the States. We used to live in a much nicer home, an old house in Swantley that has a garden and a greenhouse, but we've had to hook ourselves ever since Dad left home. It's been about 4 years now since he left, and it's been a real struggle. Mom works as a waitress in a greasy spoon diner, and it's barely enough for us to get by on, but we manage. I ask Mom sometimes about Dad, about why he left and where he is, but she never wants to talk about it. It's probably going to be even more of a struggle now, because Mom's sick, really sick. She's lost almost all of her movement in her right arm, and it's only going to get worse. She has to go to the hospital now for weekly treatments, and she has to have her friend come over most nights to help care for her. But in spite of all that, she still encourages me to go out with my friends. You see, Mom doesn't know what I do, doesn't know the special gifts that I possess. I can't even imagine what she would say if she knew, what most people would say if they knew. But I know what I'm doing is important. The people need help moving on when life is over. And I know I'm fighting for the right side.